Today, I'm going to take my own advice. If you take a look at my channel, you'll see a video that's called The Number One Life Hack for Women. I'm going to practice what I preach and have a conversation with you. When I started this channel, it was me starting an evolution of being 50, my kids being older, and having more time on my hands, being able to explore more of my coaching, my certification, but in a different way. I feel like my timing is exactly where I need it to be. Maybe not just for myself, but for those around me, or maybe it's for you. Sometimes things suck. And when I did this channel, I said, I'm going to be my true self. I am my true self. If you see some videos, I'm probably trying to stop myself from blubbering like an idiot. I sing and dance with my dog. I tell you things about my life experience because I have no shame of any mistakes that I've made in the past, because it helped me be the person I am today, and I've learned from those things. But one of the things that I struggle with is coming on here and talking to you and acting like, oh God, it feels inauthentic. Is that a word, inauthentic? Doesn't feel authentic. At times, to not talk about some things, that topics we try to avoid. But if the number one life hack for women is to keep talking, I have to practice what I preach. The world around us sucks sometimes. Things that we thought were going to be an amazing, great thing turns out to not be that. Sometimes I feel like we're in a big pot. We're like a big pot of tomato sauce, right? You're making this sauce, you put all the herbs and spices in there, and everything tastes yummy. And you're letting it cook on the stove, and it's simmering. And the longer it simmers, the better it tastes. But you put the flame up too high, a little bit too high, or you're not watching it, and you go to the bathroom, or you get distracted watching TV. You come back, and it smells a little funny. But then you take a wooden spoon, and you stir it, and all of a sudden, this black stuff that's on the bottom of the pan, which is the burnt sauce, starts to rise to the top. And that burnt sauce, that black residue of the burnt sauce that rises to the top, changes your whole pot of sauce. And if you live in where I live and there's meat in it, it's gravy. If there's no meat, it's sauce. I digress. Sometimes I feel like that's where we are as people. And one of the most profound things I've ever heard is someone say, kindness is the rent we pay to be on this planet. And I'm a true believer in that. But I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. I talk to my husband, I talk to my sister, I talk to my cousins, talk to my besties. I talk. And I get different people's perspectives. And when you know people's hearts, you can basically talk about anything. But right now, we live in a time that not only sucks for us at times, it sucks for kids. And I'm going to say that I'm one of the most, I have an attitude of gratitude. I am grateful for all the wonderful things, the blessings, the wonderful country that I live in. I'm grateful for so much. But you can be grateful and think things suck at the same time. They do. And I'm going to give you examples why I feel that way. Maybe years ago, you used to hear your parents say, oh, in my day, things were different. In my day, things were different. Oh, how these kids change, and the music that they listen to, this crazy stuff, or the crazy video games, and kids are growing up too fast. I've gotten to a point in my life where I look at that and say the same things, but not that I didn't think that what they thought was valid, because, from Elvis to hip hop, yeah, that's change, but it's not detrimental. Yesterday I got a phone call that kind of shook me. It was a text message from my sister. And my nephew did not want to go into school. and I'm sure he's okay with me sharing this. My nephew didn't want to go into school because he was afraid that the school was going to get blown up. He's a child. A child should not have to worry about that. Excuse me if I get choked up, but I'm in my feelings today. I don't know if it's the hormones, but I'm in my feelings. So my nephew's upset. He doesn't want to go to school. He gets a nosebleed because he's so upset. And man, it rips my heart out. I look at social media, which was super cool when it first came out. Facebook. It was like, oh my gosh, I can connect with people that I went to kindergarten with or high school with, or I met on certain occasions, or I can make friends with people from across the country that I've never seen before. This is friggin' awesome, man. Like, this is awesome. And then the pot gets stirred, and the black residue from the bottom of the pot seeps to the top. And now if I go on there, I'm guaranteed to be disappointed, frustrated, disgusted, or concerned. Or just plain sad. Sad. I live in a part of the country that was super close to the bombing of the World Trade Center, 9/11. I saw so much patriotism and care for our fellow neighbors than I ever did in my life. It was a horrible experience, but I still saw the silver lining. And that could just be my personality, that I see the silver lining in some stuff. I am not ignorant to know that that was not the same experience for everybody who lives here. I'm not ignorant enough to know that. Maybe I didn't see it in my neck of the woods because of where I live, but I am not ignorant to that. I'll never forget, we had a situation where, I don't know if you remember this, it was for the young people, you may have no clue. It was Y2K, where we all thought that the whole banking and computer systems were going to go to hell. I think it was the year of 2000. Once we got to the year 2000, because the computer systems, all of our systems were not geared to recognize 2000. We stayed up late at night at work, we had snacks, and we all waited to see what was going to happen at 12 a.m. I experienced that. I was a young adult. Then, we have the day-to-day news, the stuff that we see all the time. Then we have COVID. And it was a horrible experience. We lost loved ones. We couldn't attend funerals to people that were very dear to us, very dear, like in our immediate family, that we couldn't, like some of our family members couldn't even pay their respects to say goodbye. That was super hard. But then you have these little kids, and you're trying to explain to them, and to them it's like a boogeyman outside. And I'm like, damn, man, these kids are getting gypped and jerked of a childhood. They're forced to think about things they didn't have to. I did not grow up with school shootings. It is a unfortunate, normal thing to be happening in our country. Children have to live their school life differently. I remember being a kid and, we used to have I think we were all concerned about kidnappings when I was young. And even when my oldest kids were younger, you'd have to remember what your children wore before they left the house. So in case they go missing, that you can describe what they looked like. Or they had to get their fingerprints done for kid print. Went through all that. As my daughters were growing up, there was a huge anti-bullying campaign. Huge. Like, we had DARE, Say No to Drugs, then the zero tolerance for bullying. Hands down, that was not allowed in the school system. Now, you can look anywhere on social media and see adults bully the crap out of themselves. Just bully the crap out of each other. Just mean and venomous. And, you see a plus size model and the comments of what people just tearing another human down. You see it with celebrities all the time. And you look at that and you say, wow, where does that person have to be in life to tear another human down like that? I don't care if it's Khloe Kardashian. I don't care if she's a celebrity or she's wealthy. She's still a human being. She's still human. She still has feelings. She still has insecurity. She still has fears. She still has sadness and loneliness and feelings of rejection, just like every other human. And just because she's famous and she makes money does not make her any less human than the poorest person on our planet. But you watch how people give themselves the okay to just tear down another human for no reason at all, just to make themselves feel good. I when I tend to look more at a person as to why they do the things that they do versus the action itself. So when I see somebody be cruel for no reason and tear another person down, it's more about them. Like I'm like, who do you have to be? And what feelings do you have to carry and emotions do you deal with or trauma that you've experienced that you think that this is a good thing? Like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to XYZ. I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. I'm going to go against them in politics. I'm going to call them names because I can or because I'm lonely. And if that's a cry for help, so be it. But the idea that people just tear each other down like it's nothing, that gets me. I work a full-time job. I put my pants on the same way as everybody else, one leg at a time. I go to work, start my day off with a good day, with a smile. Can end up wanting to pull my hair out and scream and stop the insanity. And I come home and I live my other life. The reason that I do all the hard work for. But there's a sadness that I have no control over and I can't fix. I watch people that I care about. They're fearful of how they live their life. It has changed how we look at each other as people. Racism has always been a thing. No matter where you go, we know that exists. But then you start to look at people differently based off of their political views. And start questioning, or not questioning, telling ourselves a story as to why that person does what they do or why they choose the way that they choose. And we usually determine that it's their worst reasoning. The worst reasoning as to why somebody leans one way or the other, why they make the decisions. We have already told ourselves a story. We have already told ourselves their story. Without having a clue, without having a conversation, we have looked at them and just labeled and say, okay, that's who you are. I see who you are. I have had a rocky relationship with my mom. And I'm going all over for this. Because to me, this is all connected on how we treat humans, what type of life we want to live, what kind of energy we want to have, and how we want to show up in this world. I had a rocky relationship with my mom. And as I'm older, I realized that the years that I was having the rocky relationship, I was an older teen, which would have made my mom perimenopausal or menopausal. But when I was a kid, I had no clue that she was going through that. I just made it about me and dealt with the anger, the trauma, the sadness until I was old enough and mature enough, and she's long gone. She passed away 20 years ago, to understand that there's more to what I saw through my young years, through the eyes of my young life. My mom was freaking amazing, but I judged her for years off of her worst points in her life. We judge people that way, even though I try not to. I can't speak for anybody else in this sense. We could look at somebody and have known them for years, and they've always been kind to us. But we see what they wrote on social media, and our whole view of that person changes. We don't pick up the phone and say, hey, I saw what you wrote. Can you tell me more about that? What are you thinking? Because I know you, and I know you're a good person. But this is what you believe. This is what I believe. This is how I feel. But instead, we either cut that person off, unfollow, shun them, They're out of our life. Instead of having the conversation, we talk at each other and not to each other. My nephew situation really triggered me. It really did. And I go into work every morning, into the office, and when I walk into our cafeteria, there's a big screen TV. And every day, there's a news channel on. And I'm one of those people who try to pay attention to what everybody says. So I try not to get too caught up in the news because a lot of it has changed from when I was a kid, and it's more opinions and thoughts instead of the facts presented to us in a way that we can make our own determination of what we think. They do give facts, but some of the facts that they're given, you can tell what they think of those facts instead of just presenting them to you. Every day, I have a coworker sits there and watches that every day. And he's one of the nicest people. And I watch and I'm like, man, you can't tell me that you're not impacted on any level of how you see the world or how you see people based off of watching this every single day of your life. It is like, I kind of think of it in the way of a police officer. And I'm not talking about all of them. But you go in as a kid, you're 18 years old. You're going to make a difference in the world. You're going to make a change. You're going to be that police officer. Maybe you're really going to be into community and you love serving others and you want to get the cat out the tree and you really want to help others. But as time goes on, unfortunately, your job requires you to see the worst of people. And whether they look like you or don't, you see the worst of humanity because of the job that you're in. You fear for your life. You fear that you may never see your family again. And you get to watch the worst examples of people. You see them hurt children, just the worst of things. That child of 18, young man 18 who became an officer, is not the same person when they're 50, 60 years old. They're not. You cannot be exposed to something all the time and see negativity and the worst examples of things and think that it's not going to change you. Of course it changes you. I'm probably telling you guys things that you already know and that you think about. But I think about things that I want to talk about with you. And I say with you because I hope that you respond in comments when I when I do my videos. And I think about these things and I'm like, man, I can talk about budgeting and I can talk about time management and I can talk about dealing with the day-to-day stress. But we are all carrying a weight right now, and our children are watching, and the children are carrying the weight. Those same kids are the kids that we used to be when we were able to play in the park. And yes, our parents didn't know where we were. There was no Life 360. There was no Find My iPhone. There was no cell phones. It was the payphone that you called collect just so your parents heard your voice without having to put the money in and hung up. And you didn't come home until the sun went down. You had to be home for me, you had to be home before the street lights came on. That was a childhood. That was playing in the park. Then we watched the change to kids are like this. Video games. Now it's YouTube. Kids love YouTube. They love social media. They love electronics. They're not out in the park. And if you get them out in the park, it's like it just brings a smile to your face to see kids playing. Now, it could be the area that I live in. Hopefully where you live, you still have kids playing hopscotch and jumping jacks and, hopscotch, double dutch. All the fun games that we used to play as kids that I see are replaced with the handheld devices. I just wanted you to know that I see you. And I'm not on here I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm really not. I'm sorry, Debbie, if you're watching. I'm not calling you a downer. I'm just saying I am not trying to bring you down. But I need to be authentic and I need to be honest. And some days are harder than others. And I have to really be creative and give some thought and say, how do I make today be okay? How do I filter out the mud that is infiltrated my water and still be okay, still have faith, still have hope for a brighter future, a better way, a better life, and not just think, okay, this is it. This is the worst of it. This is where we are now, and things are just gonna suck more as time goes on. How do I do that? Well, I could pet my dog. I never understood emotional support animals like I do now. Um, I can pet my dog. I can call a friend. I can get on YouTube and talk to strangers, and hopefully you're sitting down, and if you're thinking the same things, and know that you're not alone. I just want us to lower the temperature so the stuff on the bottom of the pot is not burnt. When you stir your pot, it's not burnt. And the sauce is good and not the black stuff sitting all over the top, ruining the whole pot of sauce because of, of the infiltration of the black stuff from the bottom. I just want you to know that you are not alone. And keep talking. Like I said in my video, look for the video. It was a good one. Keep talking. If you're new here, my name is Shania. I do a lot of talking. I'm hoping that I reach you on some level and to let you know that I see you. I get it. I get it. It's, unless you are, I hate to say Helen Keller, unless you are completely clueless or live in a cave, or you are Teflon, which would be amazing. And if you are, God bless you, you're very fortunate. Your life, your day to day, and how you show up or how you see people or how you feel is definitely impacted by the behaviors and actions of others. It just is. Have faith, have hope. Keep talking to your friends, even the ones that you don't agree with. Talk to them. Don't talk at them. If you have to wait till your temper gets back to normal, or you have to wait till their temper is better, then sit down and have a conversation, or talk about other things that have nothing to do with those hot topics. We can't afford to lose people. You only get one life, and you can't redo it. There's no rewinds. You can't go back. You can't fix it. And it always happens when someone's gone is when you think, oh, I wish I would have had that talk. I wish I would have spent more time with them. Don't be that person. Protect your peace. Be the light you want to see in this world. Care for others. Know that the struggles, the fears, and things that you experience, other people are doing. And if you can't help yourself, you can help others, because the gift is also for the giver. Go do something nice for someone. Make a donation. Go do some volunteer work, or just give a compliment to a stranger on the street. Just be the version of the people that you want to be, that you want to see every single day. And I'm going to get choked up because I'm super emotional, and I'm 50. Super emotional. Have an amazing day. Thanks for watching and listening to my blabbering. Take care. Bye.